Hello everyone, welcome to the Daily Current Affairs Analysis brought to you by Shankar IAS Academy, 3rd March 2026. Before getting into the discussion, please make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you haven't, please do subscribe and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time updates from the Academy. So before moving to the topics, we have an important announcement. It is regarding the pre-storming UPSC Prelims Test Series. The batch 6 will be starting on 10th March 2026. So link for the registration is available on the website. Do register and crack the prelims this year. And coming to the topics for today's discussion, the first topic is about the Strait of Hormuz. So followed by the tension in the West Asia, the Iranian administration has decided to close the Strait of Hormuz. And the second article is about the Whistler on Mars. It's an electrical activity that happened in the Mars, and this was recorded by the Maven spacecraft in 2015, and now the NASA researchers have confirmed it. And the third article is about the India-Brazil Rare Earth Memorandum of Understanding. So recently, that is on February 21st, India signed a memorandum of understanding with Brazil, which covers the entire value chain of the mineral, and this is another step taken by India towards the mineral security. And the next article is about the Iran-US conflict. So the West Asia is in the peak of tension, and a spillover effect of the West Asian tension is experienced in the India as well. And the next, we will be discussing the prelims focus for the day. If all set, let's begin the discussion with the first article. So coming to the first article, why the closure of Strait of Hormuz is causing fears about elevating crude oil prices. The article is taken from The Hindu. So followed by the death of the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the Iranian administration has decided to close the Strait of Hormuz. So in this background, let us discuss more about the article. So we know that Strait is a narrow channel of water that connects the two major water bodies. So the Strait of Hormuz in the West Asia is connecting the Persian Gulf with the Gulf of Oman. Not that, it is connecting the Persian Gulf with the Gulf of Oman. And which are the countries that shares border with the Strait of Hormuz? United Arab Emirates, Oman, and in the north, Iran. So these three are the countries that shares border with the Strait of Hormuz in the West Asia, and it is connecting the Persian Gulf with the Gulf of Oman. And talking about the geography, the narrowest width of the strait is approximately 33 km, and the shipping lines has a 3 km wide in all directions. And talking about the governance, so the Strait of Hormuz is governed under the United Nations Convention on Law of Sea under the transit passage regime. So this transit passage regime is established in the part 3 of the United Nations Convention on Law of Sea. And according to this transit passage regime, no country in this world has the authority to suspend a navigational route. No country in this world has the authority to suspend a navigational route. And this transit passage regime is established to maintain a balance between the maritime mobility and the sovereignty of a coastal nation. The coastal nation can set some regulations, but that regulations has to be accepted by the International Maritime Organization. So they can set some regulations to maintain stability and balance in this region, but they has no right or authority to suspend a navigational route. And now you may have a question, then how the Iran can decide to close the Strait of Hormuz? So this United Nations Law of Convention on Sea is signed by Iran in the year 1982, but so far they haven't ratified this convention. So their decision to close the Strait of Hormuz is based on their strategical concern as well as their legal argument, but it is not approved under any provision in the United Nations Law of Convention on Sea. And so far, certain maritime organizations has responded to the Iran's decision. That their decision to close the Strait of Hormuz is not valid. And why this Strait of Hormuz is considered as a critical choke point? So we can see that according to the estimation from the International Energy Agency, as well as from the United States Energy Information Administration, every day nearly 20 to 25% of the world oil consumption is passing through the strait every day. And every day nearly 20 million barrels of oil is passing through the strait. And 20% of the world's LNG trade is happening, and the major contributor, the major trader is Qatar. So 20% of the world's LNG trade is happening through the strait. So that is why the Strait of Hormuz is considered as a critical choke point. And talking about the major oil exporting nations near the strait, we have Saudi Arabia, Iraq, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Iran, and Qatar. Qatar is known for liquefied natural gas. And major oil and gas fields near the Strait of Hormuz, we have the Gawar of Saudi Arabia. It is the largest conventional oil field in this world. And next we have the Burgan of Kuwait, and it is one of the largest oil fields in the world. And then we have the north field of Qatar and the south parts of Iran, which is commonly operated between Iran and Qatar, and it is the world's largest natural gas field. It is the world's largest natural gas field. So world's largest oil field, conventional oil field, one of the world's largest oil field, as well as the world's largest natural gas field is located near the Strait of Hormuz. So this region is strategically very important. And why the closure is raising panic across the world? The supply may be disrupted because we can see that 20 to 25% of the global oil consumption is happening through the strait. 20% of the LNG trade is happening through the strait. So therefore, there is a concern about the supply disruption. Shippings may delay; they may have to change the route. Higher marine insurance premium, increased freight cost, speculative price rise in the crude market. So as per the recent report, in the news channels, we can see that there will be a 10% hike in the oil price across the world because of the ongoing tension in the Iran. And we have alternative routes. We have the Saudi East-West pipeline to transport the oil to via Red Sea, and next we have the United Arab Emirates pipeline to Fujairah. But these pipeline systems are not that much efficient. The capacity of this technology is very limited. And why the India is concerned? Because we can see that 50% of India's crude oil import pass through the Strait of Hormuz. 50% of India's liquefied natural gas import is taking place through the Strait of Hormuz. So 50% of India's crude oil and 50% of India's LNG export, both are taking place through the Strait of Hormuz. So India has concerns. And what will be the impact on India? So the rising crude prices will lead to higher import bill. So the inflation, the oil inflation will happen. So we have concerns about oil inflation, current account deficit, fiscal deficit because of the fuel subsidies, and oil marketing companies' margin. So they will also rise the price for the oil. So the major concern is about the rising prices in the oil and the trade impact. So the disruption may block the access to Suez Canal and the Red Sea route. So if entire West Asia is occupied in war, then the other important routes like the Suez Canal, all this will be affected. So as per the recent report, we can see that UAE, Saudi, all these regions are currently not stable. They are all facing the threats of the war. And the rerouting is possible. We can reroute through the old way, that is through the Cape of Good Hope, but it will lead to 15 to 20 days delay in the transit time, and this will automatically increase the logistical cost. Therefore, it will increase the retail price. So these are the major impact on India. So we have a prelims practice question. The question is, consider the following statements regarding the Strait of Hormuz. Statement 1, it connects the Persian Gulf directly to Red Sea. Statement 2, nearly 1/4 of the global oil consumption passes through it. Statement 3, it is bordered by Iran and Oman. Statement 4, it is governed under the concept of transit passage under the United Nations Convention on Law of Sea. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? So we can easily eliminate the statement 1. It is not connecting the Persian Gulf directly to the Red Sea. It is connecting the Persian Gulf with the Gulf of Oman, not the Red Sea. So if the statement 1 is eliminated, we can eliminate C, A. So the correct answer will be option B. Let's check. Yes. With this, we will move to the next article. So coming to the next article, radio whistles are first clear sign of Mars lightning. The article is taken from The Hindu. So what is the article talking about? So in 2015, the Maven spacecraft of NASA detected whistler radio signal on Mars. And recently, the researchers from the NASA have confirmed it. And this is going to be the first evidence of lightning-like electrical activity in this red planet. First of all, what is meant by whistler? So it's a low frequency radio wave that usually produced through lightning, and it travels along the magnetic field line of the planet, and it reaches the planet's ionosphere. And why this lightning is known as whistler? Because once it is converted into audio, it will produce a whistle-like sound. And we have observed the same phenomena on this planet Earth during the time of volcanic eruption as well as during the time of lightning. But why this Whistler discovery in the Mars is very significant? Because the atmosphere of the Mars is very different comparing with the Earth. The atmosphere of the Mars is very thin, comprising 95% of oxygen and less amount of water vapor. And we can see that in such situation, the possibility of lightning is through dust storms, not like in the case of Earth, but through the dust storms. How this dust storms will produce lightning? So during the time of dust storms, what happens? The particles will collide. As a result, electrical charge will build up. Electrical charge will build up. So this electrical charge, the built up electrical charge will be discharged in the form of lightning. So this will lead to lightning like phenomena or electrical activity on this planet. And talking about the magnetic field condition of Mars. So one more thing we have to understand is that the Mars does not have a global magnetic field like the Earth, but it has certain localized crustal magnetic field. So what is mean by localized crustal magnetic field? These are the magnetic signatures formed through the or due to the presence of magnetic rocks. And we can see that we have detected this Whistler at 349 kilometer altitude from the in the Mars, and also we have to note that it was discovered on the night side of the Mars. It was discovered on the night side of the Mars. So what is the significance of this night side? So we can see that this during the daytime, due to the solar radiation, the ionosphere of the Mars will be compressed, but during the night time, the solar influence on this planet is very less. That time, less compression. That means the ionosphere will become little more free. So that time, this lightning, this charged plasma wave can travel easily through the ionosphere. So that is why we have detected this lightning or this Whistler on the night side of the planet. And we have to understand about one more thing, that is the MAVEN, full form is Mars Atmosphere and Volatile Evolution. This was launched in 2013 along with the, during the time of Mangalyaan mission of India. And the objective of this MAVEN mission is to understand about the upper atmosphere of the Mars, ionosphere, the solar Mars interaction, and also tracing the reason behind the atmospheric laws of the laws of atmosphere of the Mars. So these are the major areas of studies of the MAVEN mission, and it was launched in 2013. So in the same year, India launched the Mangalyaan, right? And it is orbiting the Mars since 2014. And they initially planned this mission for a short period, but later, now it is working for more than 10 years. And recently there was this MAVEN was in news because the NASA lost the communication with the MAVEN. Because of this issue, last year this MAVEN was in the news. So now we have a prelims practice question. The question is, consider the following statements regarding the recent detection of Whistler on Mars. Statement 1, a Whistler is a low frequency electromagnetic wave associated with lightning. Statement 2, Mars possesses a strong global magnetic field that allows a plasma wave to propagate. No, it has only localized crustal magnetic field, not a global magnetic field. So we can eliminate the option 1, option A, and option C and option D. So the correct answer will be option B, 1, 3 and 4 only. We will go through the statement 3 and 4. The MAVEN mission studies the Martian upper atmosphere and ionosphere. Yes. Statement 4, electrical discharges can contribute to prebiotic chemical reactions. So what is mean by prebiotic chemical reactions? The chemical reactions that happens before the development of life. So even though today we can see that there are many theories related to the origin of life, and one of the theories is the lightning happened somewhere in the earth millions of years ago is the reason behind the origin of life. There are many theories. So this electrical discharge can contribute to prebiotic chemical reactions. That is possible. So the statement 4 is also correct. So the correct answer is option B, 1, 3 and 4 only. Yes. With this we will move to the next article. So coming to the next article, how will Rare Earth Memorandum of Understanding with Brazil help India? The article is taken from The Hindu. So recently, that is on February 21st, the India signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Brazilian government during the time of the Brazilian president's visit to India. And this memorandum of understanding will cover the entire supply chain of the minerals, starting from the exploration to refining. And we can see that through this memorandum of understanding, India is aiming to strengthen the supply chain, competition, and also to reduce the dependency of India on one country for minerals. And what is mean by the rare earth minerals? So it's a combination of 17 elements. It comprises 17 elements which are very crucial for electronic vehicle, wind turbine, defense and electronics. Permanent magnets. Permanent magnets are the elements which has the capacity to retain the magnetism even without any external support. And also smartphones and AI hardware. So these are the areas of the application of the rare earth minerals. And what are the initiatives taken by India to secure the mineral security? The first is National Critical Mineral Mission, which was approved by the government of India in the January month of 2025. So this mission will cover the operations from the financial year 2024-25 to 30-31, that is the next 5 years. So this will be addressing the entire supply chain starting from exploration to recycling of the minerals. And we can see that the Union Budget of 2026 is talking about the mineral resolve. What is meant by mineral resolve? Now the government of India is focusing on the implementation of the framework to boost the mineral security rather than just focusing only on the policy. And the next is the amendment. We amended the Mines and Minerals Development and Regulation Act of 1957 in 2023, which empowers the central government to auction the blocks, to support the exploration and the development of the critical and strategic minerals. And next we have the institution, that is the Kanji Bidesh India Limited, shortly known as KABIL, which is working on ensuring the rights and the exploration of the minerals in other countries. And we have signed agreements with Argentina and Chile for mineral security. And also India has a goal, that is achieving the domestic production of rare earth magnets, rare earth permanent magnets by 2026. And talking about the significance of Brazil, why the Brazil is significant? So according to the estimation of the United States Geological Survey, Brazil has a reserve of nearly 21 million tons of rare earth oxide. It has a reserve of nearly 2.7 billion tons of bauxite. It has a reserve of nearly 270 million tons of manganese and also 0.4 million tons of lithium. So we can see that according to the same institution, Brazil has so far only explored 30% of their reserve. So from this, we can understand the significance of the Brazil in the mineral security. And the strategic significance for India, so diversifying the source options, so we don't have to depend on one country for the mineral. Improving the bargaining power, that means we can bargain with one country. So if they are not ready to come in terms, then we can go to another country. And reduces vulnerability to export control, geopolitical disruption. So we know that currently what is happening in West Asia, and also the frameworks, the policies of the Trump administration is frequently changing. Therefore, we cannot depend on one region, or we cannot depend on one country for a particular need. So coming to the prelims practice question, the question is, with reference to the rare earth elements, consider the following statement. Statement 1, rare earth elements includes 15 lanthanide along with scandium and yttrium. Statement 2, India's National Critical Mineral Mission covers recycling and recovery from end of the life products. Statement 3, Brazil is a member of Pax Silica Initiative. No, Brazil is not a member of Pax Silica Initiative. It is an initiative brought by the United States to secure the silicon stake. So this statement is incorrect. So if statement 3 is eliminated, means the correct answer is option A, 1, 2 and 4 only. Yes. And statement 4, the Mines and Mineral Development and Regulation Amendment Act of 2023 strengthens the center's power regarding auction of critical mineral blocks. Yes. So the correct answer is option A, 1, 2 and 4 only. So with this, we will move to the next article. So coming to the next article, Ministry of Home Affairs cautions states against the possible violence in the wake of US-Israel military strikes against Iran. The article is taken from The Hindu. So we know that Israel and the USA launched a joint strike on Iran, and they assassinated the Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. And after this incident, the entire West Asia is in tension, and India is also experiencing a spillover effect of this West Asian tension. Let us discuss how. So after this incident, several Indian states witnessed sporadic protests, particularly the states of UP, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Karnataka, and Delhi. And in the situation, the Ministry of Home Affairs advised the states about the possibility of violence and sporadic protest, and also directed the state governments to monitor the social media to prevent the misinformation and rumor, and also asked the state governments to enhance the security, particularly the security around the embassy, holy places, and also around the tourist destinations. And what is the issue between the Iran and the US? So to understand this Iran-USA tension, we have to go back in time. So if we take the Iran-USA relation before 1979, it was very good. They were really good friends. But after 1979, that is after the Islamic Revolution, the relationship between the diplomatic relation between the Iran and the USA was totally changed. So to understand this, we have to start from 1925. So in 1925, the Pahlavi rule came to power in Iran, and the first ruler of this Pahlavi dynasty was Reza Shah Pahlavi. And we can see that in 1940s, the Reza Shah Pahlavi's son, Muhammad Reza Shah Pahlavi, became the Shah of the Iran. And this time, the Iran was a constitutional monarchy. That means they had a prime minister. And in this time, in 1940s, from 1940s onwards, the Iranian dynasty and the government had a lot of discontent, and they had a difference of opinion, and that even led to that step down of the Shah from his throne. And we can see that after that incident in 1953, the Shah was reinstated into the throne by the US-led coup in the Iran, that was the Operation Ajab. So after this operation, the in Iran, the Shah became the supreme ruler, and from 1953 to 1979, the Iran-USA relation was at its peak. And we can see that in this meantime, in this 20 years, the Iran even witnessed a lot of modernization and westernization. But there are certain factors that led to the fall of Shah. One was his efforts to modernize the Iran. So his measures to modernize the Iran led to undermining the Islamic culture of Iran. So the people automatically supported the theological communities like the clergy community of Islam within Iran. And later, the Shah also faced a lot of criticism that he is a puppet of the US government. So all these factors combined to the Islamic Revolution of 1979, and the Shah rule in Iran was brought it to a complete end, and the present regime came to power in Iran through this Islamic Revolution. And after this incident, the Iran witnessed the famous hostage crisis of this 20th century. That was the Iranian hostage crisis. The revolutionary students of Iran captured nearly 52 American diplomats and held them as hostage for nearly more than 1 year. And we can see that after this incident also, Iran was not stable. Iran had to fight with Iraq. And after this Islamic Revolution, the Iran relation with the America was totally changed. So we can see that between 1980s and 2000s, the America imposed a lot of sanctions on Iran. And we can see that in 2003, the American President George Bush, he said that Iran is a member of the Devil Axis. Devil Axis is an axis formed by Iran, Iraq, and also North Korea. So these three countries formed the Devil Axis according to George Bush. So he even labeled the country as one of the members of the Devil Axis. And later, between 1980s and 2000s, Iran also had to face a lot of allegations regarding their sponsorship to various proxy groups like the Hezbollah and Houthis. And we can see that in this time, Iran also started developing their nuclear capacity through uranium enrichment. And America later brought this as a major issue, and we can see that using this uranium enrichment as a core issue, America again started pressurizing the Iranian regime. America started imposing a lot of sanctions on Iran, and America did not allow the Iran to trade and other countries to trade with Iran. So a lot of diplomatical tensions happening in America between the America and Iran. And finally, in 2015, a joint comprehensive plan of action was signed between Iran and the USA, and that also includes the Germany, one of the members of the European Union. So the joint comprehensive action plan was signed between Iran, the permanent 5 members of the UN Security Council, and also the Germany. And Iran accepted to limit their uranium enrichment to 3% and also to reduce their other infrastructure that is supporting this uranium enrichment. But later in 2015, citing certain violations of this provisions of the action plan, the US administration under Donald Trump withdrew from this joint action plan, and again the relation between the Iran and the America became bad. And we can see that in 2020 the US drone killed the Iranian army general Qasim Soleimani, and that led to a temporary disruption, a temporary tension between the diplomatic tension between the America and the Iran. And we can see that after this incident, there were several efforts to revive the talks between America and Iran regarding the limitation of the uranium enrichment, but none of them were successful. So, what is the current issue in the West Asia? So, the US and Israel, they joined to launch attack on Iran, and Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was killed in this incident. Not just the supreme leader, even other important officials and the leaders also killed in this incident, and this led to widespread tension across the West Asia. So what is the risk of this incident? So regional spillover is there. So that is what we are witnessing in the form of protest in different parts of India. Proxy retaliation. So after the assassination of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the Hezbollah responded that they will take revenge for this US action. But as per the latest update, we can see that the Israel assassinated one of the Hezbollah chiefs. And the next is the disruption near the Strait of Hormuz. So the Strait of Hormuz disruption will affect the trade, right? So what will be the impact on India? So this will definitely affect the India's security, because the tension is going on in the energy security of India, because the tension is going on in the West Asia. So the Iran is located near the Strait of Hormuz. So the possibility of disruption is very high, and the Iran is planning to close. They are planning to close the Strait of Hormuz. So we already discussed an article on this, right? So Iran, located near the Strait of Hormuz, it is located in the north of Strait of Hormuz. Therefore, the tension in the Iran will lead to disruption near the Strait of Hormuz, which is very important for the India's energy security, because nearly 50% of India's oil and 54% of India's LNG is transported. It is imported through this Strait of Hormuz. And we have concerns about the diaspora, because 8 to 9 million Indians are living in the Gulf region. And the Chabahar port, which is strategically as well as economically very important for India, because this Chabahar port connects the India with the Central Asia, avoiding the Pakistan. Therefore, we have concerns about the developments. We have concerns about about our investments in the Chabahar port. And the next is security concern, the internal security concern. So there is a possibility for radicalization, communal tension, and also terror targeting the foreign missions. So that is why now the government asked the state governments to tighten the security, monitor the social media, and also to tighten the security near the embassies as well as the tourist destinations. So what India can take at this point of time? What step India can take? So we should not compromise our strategical autonomy at any cost. And at the same time, we should engage in balanced diplomacy, at this both independently as well as collectively with the Iran, Israel, and the USA to protect our security, our interest. At the same time, enhancing the embassy security protocols is really important, because if any type of violence or protest is targeting the embassies, in that case, it will worsen the India's relation with that country. And counter misinformation via digital media. Yes, this misinformation is one of the major reasons behind the communal violence as well as other tensions, and support de-escalation through multilateral forums. So these are the major steps India can take at this point of time. But anyhow, we have to wait for some period of time. We have to observe the developments, because the West Asia is very sensitive. We have to a little bit patient. At the same time, we have to wait for the right moment to engage, because the West Asia is very sensitive, and we cannot predict what will happen in West Asia at the very next time, at the very next second. So, coming to the mains practice question, the question is: escalation of Iran-US-Israel conflict has implications far beyond West Asia. Examine the historical roots of Iran-US conflict and analyze its impact on India's energy security and internal security. So we have already discussed the points for this question. So it's a 50 marks question, and you have to write around 250 words. Write the answer, post it in the comment section. We will review and we will reply for an answer. Now it's time to move to the prelims focus for the day. So coming to the prelims focus, the first topic is India-Bhutan cooperation on rivers and hydropower. So recently the Secretary of the Ministry of Jal Shakti led an Indian team to Bhutan to strengthen the cooperation on transboundary river management, flood management, and also for hydropower infrastructure. So the major discussions between the Bhutan and Indian team were about enhancing the flood forecasting and data sharing, modernizing the hydrometeorological network, collaboration between India and Bhutan for capacity building and technical exchange, and both nations are focusing on addressing the climate change induced challenges like the glacial lake outburst flood. And we can see that the Indian team also visited some of the important mega infrastructure, hydropower infrastructure projects like the Punat Sangchu, which is currently under the construction, and they also visited the Punat Sangchu 2, which is recently commissioned, and also the Indian team visited some of the important water treatment plants in Bhutan. So why this hydropower is very important for India and the Bhutanese relation? Because the hydropower generation is the major source of revenue for the Bhutanese government, because the surplus energy they will sell to India and India will give money. So this is how the Bhutanese government is working, and also this is the pillar of relation between India and the Bhutan government. And the next topic is the Indian Institute of Handloom Technology. So recently the Vice President of India inaugurated the new academic building of the Indian Institute of Handloom Technology in Salem, and the objective is to strengthen the handloom education, skill development, empowering the weaver community, and also the production with the modern technology. So what are the facilities in the new building? Modern classroom, digital library, seminar hall, laboratory, training space, and also the controller of examination office for all 11 Indian Institute of Handloom Technologies. And what is the significance? The significance, it will boost the textile ecosystem of Tamil Nadu. At the same time, it will strengthen the objective of the Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is aiming towards self-sufficiency. And we can see that India currently has nearly 18 free trade agreement with more than 50 plus countries. So all these 18 agreements, majority of them are focusing on strengthening the textile sector of India, including the recently signed India European Union free trade agreement. So India European Union free trade agreement is also focusing on strengthening the India's textile, especially the handloom and the textile industries. And the third topic is National Arogya Fair, which was recently held in the Shiagon, and this was organized by the Ministry of Ayush. The objective is to strengthen the preventive, promotive, and integrative healthcare through various Ayush systems of medicine. So Ayush stands for Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy. So through this fair, we are planning to strengthen the medical system through integrating the Ayush. And it promotes rural livelihood by encouraging medicinal plant cultivation and value addition. And what is the significance? The significance, it reinforces the ministry's vision of holistic public health, rural empowerment, and leadership in Ayush system, India's leadership in Ayush system. And that is why we can see that the free trade agreement is also focusing on free trade agreement with the European Union is also focusing on strengthening the Ayush system. And India, through this agreement, India can establish a traditional digital knowledge library in the European Union. So these are the initiatives that we are taking to strengthen our traditional medicine and the knowledge about the traditional medicines. So coming to the prelims practice question, the question is with reference to India-Bhutan cooperation on rivers and hydropower, consider the following statements. Statement 1, most hydropower projects in Bhutan are developed with Indian financial and technical assistance. Statement 2, electricity generated from Bhutan's hydropower project is a major source of revenue for Bhutan through export to India. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? Option A, 1 only, option B, 2 only, option C, both 1 and 2, and option D, neither 1 nor 2. So the correct answer you can comment in the comment section. We will reply for that. With this, we are coming to the end for today's Prelims Focus. With this, we are coming to the conclusion for today's current affair analysis. If you like the video, hit the like button, give your feedbacks as comments, and share this content with your friends. And before leaving this channel, don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell icon to receive on-time updates from the academy. Thank you for listening to us. Thank you for listening to me. Have a nice day.